We're glad to have you back. The 2018 legal year commenced with growing concerns on how to resolve the backlog of high-profile criminal cases in courts across the country. Now, beyond the backlog of criminal cases, the judiciary during the year under review was faced with the problem of how to redeem its integrity, which had suffered terribly due to the disreputable acts of some judges in connivance with some members of the bar. And TVC News Judiciary correspondent Celestina Iria now reports.
The passage of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 by former President Goodluck Jonathan was expected to mark the dawn of a new era in the Nigerian criminal justice system, as the law, amongst other radical provisions, abolished stay of proceedings. The provisions of the Act in Section 396, subsection 3 and subsection 4 stipulates that hearings shall be on a daily basis, but in exceptional cases, where adjournments not in excess of 14 working days may be granted, but such adjournments not to exceed 5 days in any proceedings. Regardless of these provisions, lawyers have developed new tricks to delay proceedings by long cross-examination of witnesses. These factors have categorized the lack of speedy dispensation of justice of high-profile corruption cases. The 2018 legal year began with a number of high-profile cases which were a carryover from previous legal years. Some of those notable cases involved Ali Uduma, former governor of Nasarawa State, charged for alleged laundering state funds to the tune of 8 billion naira. Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, charged for alleged abuse of office and money laundering. Saminu Turaki, a former governor of Jigawa State, charged for alleged misappropriation of 36 billion naira while in office. Olisa Metu, former publicity secretary of the PDP, standing trial for corruption charges alongside his firm, Destra Investment Limited, to the tune of 400 million naira, said to be from the office of the National Security Advisor without executing any contract. Ikedio Hakim, former governor of Imo State, charged for alleged making cash payments of $2.29 million for land. Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired National Security Advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan, standing trial for alleged mismanaging $2.1 billion meant for purchase of arms to fight Boko Haram insurgents. Others are Murtala Inyanku, former Adamawa State Governor, his son Abdulaziz and 2 aides, Gabriel Suswan, former Governor of Benue State, amongst others. 2018 legal year also saw the conviction of ex-Plateau Governor and 7th Senator Joshua Dariye to 14 years imprisonment on charges of criminal breach of trust and misappropriation of over 1.16 billion naira belonging to the states. The sentence was, however, commuted to 10 years by the Court of Appeal, and his Taraba counterpart, Jole Yamen, was equally sentenced to 14 years imprisonment, which was commuted to 12 years by the Court of Appeal. In a judgment on July 6th, the Supreme Court affirmed the June 2017 decision of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, which ruled that the prosecution failed to prove the case against the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, on 16-count charges of false asset declaration. Lawyers are of the opinion that the judiciary experienced major breakthrough in 2018, but are optimistic that 2019 will be better.
I think it's the pressure of work, and I think also it is the fact that both the low and the mighty have no other place to go apart from the courts, and that places a lot of pressure on the courts, both the lower courts and the higher courts and the appellate courts, especially the Supreme Court also, that have to determine appeals emanating from the various divisions of the Court of Appeal across the 36 states of the Federation. And yet we have only about 17 of them who are justices of Supreme Court who have to take up these matters. So the pressure is on, and I do hope that moving on, we'll be able to find means and ways of scaling down on the number of matters that eventually ends at the Supreme Court.
Because of the growing nature of democracy in our country, the consciousness to ventilate angers or anger overrides and grievances is very high. So the courts have a very congested docket, and significantly, if the approach of the judiciary is to bring out a number of practice directions with the hope of bringing fast-track methodology in reducing some of the cases they consider of utmost importance, and they have also tried to amend Many states have reviewed their rules. You're aware that a number of laws like the Administration of Criminal Justice Act have come on board in Abuja, and many states are copying it.
Some journalists believe there is need to speed up cases pending before the court to aid speedy dispensation of justice.
And, the judiciary has, within the outgoing year, has tried its best, but I would say its best is not good enough, in the sense that there are areas that require improvement, particularly in the area of quick dispensation of justice.
It has performed not 100%, but at least I'll give the pass mark above average, in the sense that we have seen high-profile convictions in the judiciary, especially in a case where the court, sentenced two former governors, Joshua Dariye and Jole Inyame, sentenced them 14 years imprisonment, on issue bordering on corruption. At least for a very long time, Nigerians have not seen this, but seeing this, that shows that judiciary, is living up to expectation.
The consensus is, if the judiciary improves on its way of adjudication, it will help provide a balance for the two other arms of government, the legislature and the executive, ahead of the 2019 general elections. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.